Yes, you are audible.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, wish you all a very happy Raksha Bandhan, and I thank Sam and Ravi for giving me opportunity to speak on a topic to all the Invincibles. And I also thank all the participants today, because being a Raksha Bandhan day, they have taken out time for this session. I'm thankful to them also. So coming to the topic as proper, the topic for given to me is fire safety at home and at workplace. So this topic I will be covering in basically 4 sections. It is a very vast topic. If I take any one subject, one class is not enough. Like fire safety, precautions, then firefighting equipments, fire safety in high-rise buildings, fire evacuation drill, all are one subject in itself, and it will consume a lot of time. But I have just stick to some basics of fire. Then I'll try to acquaint you with the basic firefighting equipments available around us, how to identify them and how to use them. And we'll discuss on some precautions to avoid fire safety in our home and workplace. And I'll also try to show a small video on basic principles of handling of fire extinguisher, because we cannot conduct a demo. So it is sort of demo, a small video. In these 4 major category, I will try to cover maybe within 1 hour. Try to bear with me, and try to bear with my throat also, because from last 2 days I'm running cold, so my throat is not okay. So bear with me. So before starting the topic, I'll try to give one statement. This is my statement. Fire has made us what we are now. That is my statement. Fire has made us what we are now. I'll try to justify it. Fire as such, it was in the nature from ages when the planet came to life came to this planet. Fire was there, but our ancestors, they didn't know how to use fire. Probably they've seen fire as maybe through lightning or some volcanic eruptions, some wildfire, some meteoritic fall. Fire must have caught, because they were nobody staying in the jungles, so they must have ran away from fire. Then due to fire, plants have come up, grasslands came up, the savanna and all we have read. So stage by stage, that nomadic life to grazing land, then domestication, then use of fire. Maybe our ancestors, they must have started how to use this fire. They must have taken the burnt food. It must have been tasty. And we all have read in our history, the prehistoric man, they used to burn, light a fire by striking 2 stones together or some wood together. So if you go to history, it says that 1.7 to 2 million years ago, the fire was used by human being. The carbon dating and all scientists, they have researched that fire was being used by human being from around 2 million years ago. But the control of fire by early humans was probably the turning point in the technological evolution of human being. That is why I'm telling, fire has made us what we are now. Due to this fire only, we have moved from nomadic life to grazing land to domestication and now industrialization and all. In all these walks of life, fire has played a very important role. Even the great scientist, evolution scientist, Charles Darwin, he says fire is the greatest discovery made by humanity, excepting only language. Besides language, fire is the greatest discovery by humanity. This is what Charles Darwin says. So next, coming to some quotes, some fire, it is some theoretical part. Fire is a process in which substances combine chemically with oxygen from air and give bright light, heat and smoke. I have highlighted process and heat and smoke. We are interested about the process of fire and how to control heat and smoke. Because without fire, we cannot run. It is used by human. See, the next point is cooking, generating heat and light, in agriculture, for clearing land and all, signaling, in all rituals, cremations, burning of waste, fire is required. And in industry also, for smelting, forging, propulsion, everywhere fire is required. So without fire, we cannot do. But when it is misused or it is uncontrolled, it becomes a weapon of destruction. So the topic today is how to control fire when it is beyond our control or it is causing some destruction. Some important quotes we use in fire. Fire is the best servant but worst master. If you use fire judiciously, it can create a lot of things for you. But if it is uncontrolled, it become a master, then it is very difficult. Kill fire before it kills you. These are some quotes we use in our fire safety here. Fire destruction is one man's job, but fire prevention is everybody's job. This is important. One man's recklessness or negligence can create a fire, but to prevent it, it is everybody's job. Everybody has to work in tandem to prevent it. And when there is fire, get out quick before the smoke gets thick. In the course of discussion, we'll see how smoke is the important cause of destruction in fire. Nobody dies by burning when a fire accident occurs. It is due to smoke only people die. So get out quick before the smoke gets thick. These are some quotes. Now we'll see some major fire accidents in India. This part I have kept knowingly because we visit many places like shopping malls, market, cinema halls, even to school functions and all. We visit there. But I'll show you some major fire accidents in India, and it covers all these places. You can Google it and you see. And among those is the Upar cinema tragedy, which happened in Delhi. This topic I want to highlight because this is the greatest, worst fire accident which India has seen. It happened in Upar cinema. It is located in Green Park, New Delhi. It occurred on 13 June 1997. It was Friday, 3 o'clock screening of Border movie. It was a very hit movie. And this fire started around 7 a.m. in the transformer. It was located in the ground floor. So it was intimated to Delhi Vidyut Board. Their engineer and the transformer mechanic, they came and repaired it. It was made functional at 11 a.m. But it was done hastily. So there was a loose wire. After running up the generator, the loose wire get entangled with the radiator and a spark occurred. There was also oil leak from the generator. Then oil spillage, it went to the car parking, which was hardly 5 to 10 meters from that generator. And this fire started around 4:55 p.m. in the afternoon when movie was running. Fire broke out. The whole of the car parking in the car parking lot, it caught fire. The smoke entered into the cinema hall through the staircase and through the AC duct. And most of the people who were sitting in the balcony were the affected by the AC balcony. And hello, am I audible? So the transformer are poorly repaired.
You are audible, Girish.
Okay. The transformer oil, it was poorly repaired. So the oil leakage caused the fire, and the fire spread to the car parking lot. And basically the smoke went into the cinema hall, and there was stampede in which 103 people were injured in stampede, and there was 59 deaths due to asphyxiation. This was caused because since Border was a very hit movie, what the cinema people they did, they put extra chairs in the gangway, the pathway which is between the the seating arrangement. The right and left, both the pathways, they had put extra chairs. They had made some extra VIP boxes for VIP to sit. So the pathway were blocked properly. And one of the gate, which was locked by the gatekeeper, and when he saw fire, he left that place without unlocking it. There are no emergency light, no PA system. So people didn't know what to do. And when the fire started, the electricity went off. So it was complete darkness with smoke. So there was stampede. There were 59 deaths due to this suffocation and 103 people injured. Here I have mentioned Captain Manjinder Singh Bitter's name. He was from 61 Cavalry Armored Regiment. He was there in the Upar cinema celebrating some success. He was a good horse rider. He was with his colleague and his family. He could have escaped, but he said he saw his help is required in the cinema hall. So he, along with his colleague and his family, they tried to save people from that balcony area. In that, he was martyred along with his wife and 4-year-old son. But they could save around 150 precious lives. Lesson to be learned here: whenever there is a fire or any natural disaster, first you save yourself, then try to help others. When they went inside to help, at least they could have left their wife and son outside and they could have gone to help. And when you are helping someone, you should take some precaution, like tying some handkerchief or something in your nose so that smoke is not coming to you and hurting you. So this is a lesson learned. Whenever you want to save someone, first save yourself, then try to help others. This was a classic scene. You can classic situation or this tragedy in Indian history. You can Google it and read in detail. This was Upar cinema incident. Beside this, I have tabulated some important major fire accidents in India. This Monday Diwali Haryana DAV school annual function. We all go to annual day function. It was also something like that DAV school function. The whole of there was a fire due to short circuit, and whole of the stage, the upper part of the stage, this fell on the people sitting below it. 300 people died. Most were children. Around 100 injured. Out of this 300, around 200 were children and parents. Then there was one Srirangam marriage hall fire tragedy. In this, what happened? That video camera, it has short circuit in the video camera. The marriage hall, that reception party was going on. Then a fire caught. It was a thatched roof type hall, so it caught fire. In that, I think that bride also died. There are 57 deaths in that marriage hall. We all go to some marriage function or some function. Then the Sri Krishna added higher secondary school. This is again one typical case. There were 3 schools running in a narrow lane. This fire occurred. People could not evacuate the kids, and there are 94 deaths. One trade fair in Meerut, Brand India Trade Fair, again 100 deaths. Emory Hospital, Calcutta, everyone knows. The basement of the Emory Hospital fire started due to short circuit. There are so much of these rugs and these waste materials were dumped in the basement. It caught fire and toxic smoke. It went into the hospital to the AC duct. 95 people died, mostly patients. 95. Anaj Mandi fire recently, 2019. People must have seen in TV also. The Anaj Mandi, a number of these small factories were running in this area. Very narrow by-lanes and gully type area. People are sleeping, and the night the fire occurred. 43 people died. Okay, so my aim of telling of those incidents was that these places we also visit. So if you remember, one day Ishan was telling, whenever you go to some public place, look for an escape route, the nearest escape route, how to escape. Because if there is nothing, it is okay. But if something like this happens, you should be in a position to leave that place as soon as possible. For that, in any public place, one of your aim should be to get out of the place if there is some incident of this sort. Now coming to this fire triangle. The theoretical part, everyone knows there are 3 factors required to start a fire: the combustible material, oxygen, and heat, the ignition temperature. But here I want to stress one thing. In air, we are having 21% oxygen. We just require 16% of oxygen to start a fire. It means air is plentifully available. Combustible materials are everywhere. It is just the ignition heat or ignition temperature that is required to cause a fire. So in principle of fire, we say if any one of these 3 components, any one, can be removed, then we can control fire. Then again, it is theoretical part, classification of fire, but important for us is like class A, B, C, D, E, F, the fire classes are there. This, if you can remember this class A, B, C, whenever you see a fire extinguisher, this class is mentioned there. So it is basically class A carbonaceous fire like wood, rags, pepper. These are files fire involving ordinary combustible materials. Like pepper, wood, rags, textile, etc., where cooling effect of water is essential. Because when there is a fire on these materials, it is only water that can put out this fire. Then next is B class is oil, petroleum products, solvents, some paints, varnishes. C class is gaseous fire, LPG, butane, propane. These are the gaseous fire. D is metal, magnesium, aluminum, zinc. These are basically in plants. Class E, earlier there was a class E for electrical fire. Now it has been discontinued. Electricity is not a material to burn, it is a source of fire. Once you put up the electricity is gone. So the material which is burning, we can fire with A, B, C or F class. And F class is recently added, is kitchen fire. Nowadays there are big restaurants, oil fryers and all those are using. So A, B, C class, the fire extinguisher, they cannot douse this kitchen fire when the oil is used and fat and grease are burning. So again, one class F fire came and new fire extinguisher was introduced to that. So now coming to the method of extinguishing fire. How do we extinguish fire? There are three methods basically. Starvation. Starvation, this can be achieved by removing the combustible material from the vicinity of the fire. Like the wood is burning, pepper is burning, in the vicinity, you remove those things, a fire will die. Then is smothering. Basically, what in fire extinguishers, we use this smothering and cooling. Starvation is basically removing the combustible material from the near the vicinity of fire. Smothering involves cutting up or reducing the oxygen supply to the burning material. Either you covering it. The next is cooling. This can be achieved by removing heat from the burning material by putting basically water. This is cooling. These are the three methods: starvation, smothering, and cooling. These three methods are used basically to extinguish fire. Then we'll come to all the fire extinguishers, different types, because in our offices, in our housing societies, we see there are so many fire bottles, red color, painted. They are hanging on the wall or kept in the ground. But we think they are lal batli, kya hoga, pata nahi chalta hai, nahi chalta hai. These are basic feeling. So next few slides, I'll show you the fire extinguisher, how to identify those fire extinguishers and how to use them. And one thing you remember, fire extinguishers which are available, the portable fire extinguisher, they are basically for first aid. These are first aid items. Means when the fire is very small and you know how to use it, then only you can use it. When the fire increase, because when the fire continues for some time, there is chain reaction and heat increase and energy also increase. That time this fire extinguisher will not work. These are for small fire. Initiation of fire, if you see, if you can use those fire extinguisher, you can put up a fire to avoid any big fire. So these are the fire extinguisher basically. The next slides, I will show you the pictures, how they look like. This red 3, initial 3, water CO2, DCP or ABC type, and this carbon dioxide. These three are the common fire extinguisher. It is available everywhere. In our society, in our office, you will see it. Water CO2, it is for carbonaceous fire like wood, plastic, coal, fabric. This extinguishing medium is only water. 9-liter water is there inside. And next is DCP fire extinguisher, is dry chemical powder. Earlier, dichlorophosphate, diammonium phosphate, these things materials were used. Now it has come to ABC. When DCP was used, it was suitable for only B and C class fire. But now this powder has come to ABC type. It is for suitable for all three classes of fire. And in this we use monoammonium phosphate, MAP 90. That is generally used, MAP 90. Next, I'll show you. Next is carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. It is having only carbon dioxide in stored pressure mode, suitable for all electrical fire. Like water, you cannot use in electricity. But carbon dioxide, you can only this fire extinguisher and ABC. These two you can use in electricity. And next, earlier this foam type now also it is used. They are basically used in, I guess, oil, petrol, diesel, because a layer of foam is formed on the fire surface. So they are basically, you will find in petrol pumps and all. And one is this wet chemical fire extinguisher. This the new one for the class F fire. When fats, cooking oil in a restaurant, kitchen, deep fry oil fires are used, we can use this wet chemical. There are some automatic fire suppression system or gas flooding system. In MNCs, you must be seeing these systems are installed for data center, DRS site, treasury. This area we use automatic fire suppression or gas flooding system. Then modular type fire extinguisher, you must have seen round shape modular fire extinguisher, or they activate automatically in UPS or maybe near electrical panel, you use all those things. So my showing this slide was, we are interested about this water CO2, DCP and carbon dioxide. These three will be using in our day-to-day life. Rest are specialized type. They are localized, they are placed in some special type of locations. And there are basically two types of fire extinguisher you will find. See, this is a picture. There are two types. One is stored pressure and one is cartridge operated. So these both are CO2 type, water CO2 type. This is water type, but their structure is different. Whenever you see this type of structure, there is only normal like plunger and a nozzle like this, or one pipe like this. That is a cartridge operated. Means one small cartridge is fitted at the top, only 150 grams, small cartridge, nitrogen or dry air, and the extinguishing material is filled in the total bottle. Whenever you press that plunger, pull out the pin and press the plunger, it breaks the cartridge, generate pressure in the cylinder, and this material come out through this nozzle. This is stored. This is cartridge operated. This is stored pressure. Stored pressure, there is no cartridge. This whole cylinder is filled with the material, and air is or nitrogen is stored as, in a pressurized manner, like 15 bar or 25 bar. Like water CO2, it is 15 bar, and DCP it is 25 bar. CO2 it is around 50 bar. The nitrogen is stored inside the pressure. So it has a squeeze grip. Just pull out the pin and operate that grip, and material will come out. It is under pressure. This is again DCP. This is stored pressure wala, and this is cartridge operated. This is just to identify. This is a cartridge operated. In the top, there will be a plunger and a safety pin. I'll show you a safety pin in one slide, how to pull it and how to press it. You have to break that cartridge, then only the material will come out. But in this stored pressure wala, this is the pin. You pull out the pin, press the squeeze grip, material will come out. These two types, earlier we used to use this cartridge operated wala. Now stored pressure are mostly used. Cartridge operated has some advantage in rugged area and low temperature area, and there are less chances of leakage or auto actuating wala problem in cartridge operated. But stored pressure, it is under pressure, so there is chances of leakage, but it is easy to operate. So nowadays you will see only stored pressure wala. With the squeeze grip, there is no plunger, nothing to pull and beat. Now coming one by one, this is ABC type fire extinguisher. But obviously earlier DCP was used. Now also DCP is used. It is only the change in powder. It is ABC type. Monoammonium phosphate MAP90 is used. This is suitable for all class of fire, A, B, C type fire. It forms a crust or smoothing effect to cut up the oxygen. So this douses fire by smoothing effect. Even that powder, when it comes in contact with the fire, when it increases around 300 to 350 degree, it melts and forms a thick coating over the material. So it cut off the oxygen. But it does not have any cooling effect. So chance of reignition is there. It is refilled after every 3 years, or there is a pressure gauge. I'll show you the pressure gauge in some slide later. When the pressure gauge, that pin is coming below that pressure, you have to refill it, or else for 3 years you can keep it and after 3 years you need to refill it, and it is suitable for all class of fire. Some people will ask why so many types of fire extinguisher. It is basically cost. The water wala is cheapest because the material is only water. DCP is again cheaper, but ABC is costlier, and CO2 is costliest among all these. The next is CO2 type. CO2 type is peculiar due to this horn. You can see this horn and a pipe. It is CO2. Suitable for electrical panel. When there is a fire in electricity board, electrical panel, you can use this. And it is saying class B and C. Inflammable liquid also, yes, you can put it, but there is chances of splashing up liquid, so you can use it judiciously, but it is suitable for electrical fire. If there is electrical fire, you can use CO2. Pressurized carbon dioxide in liquid form, it is the extinguishing medium. When it gets discharged, it is very cold. If you use it, that horn is very, it is something like the dry ice, very cold. CO2 works by suffocating the fire and no damage and no residue. Like in computers, you cannot put powder. If you put powder, your motherboard is gone. But CO2, yes, there is no residue. Aag bhi bujh jayega and your material is also saved. There is no residue. It is useful because it is 1.5 times heavier than air. So it displaces oxygen and suffocates the fire. Refilling requires after 5 years or weight loss. Whenever they refill this fire extinguisher, they weigh it. There is a particular weight for it. They see the weight loss, they then refill, or after 5 years, you can refill it. Next, this is water CO2. Same nozzle, but thing to identify, it is written water. See in the water, whenever you see the extinguisher, it is written water, foam, powder, CO2, it is written. So there is no confusion, it is water. So whenever you see this type of fire extinguisher, there is written water, don't put it down electricity. It is water is the extinguishing medium, suitable for paper, wood, straw and all, not to be used on electrical appliances unless main switch is off. Once main switch is off, then material which burns, it is as good as any paper, wood, straw, or rubber, you can put water, no issue. But kindly ensure that main switch is off, then you can use water or CO2, this powder or anything. Principle is cool fire by soaking and absorbing heat from the burning object. It is refilled annually. This is the only extinguisher which requires annual refilling because it is water. So it can corrode the inner lining of the fire extinguisher. So every year it should be refilled. Next is foam. Again, foam is written. Look by it is same, but once you see foam, you can use it on petrol or any liquid, gasoline, diesel, petrol. Sodium bicarbonate in main body and aluminum sulfate in the canister. One small canister is there in the top, it is having aluminum sulfate. Once the plunger is, this grip is pressed, it gets broken and mixed with sodium bicarbonate and form a foam. Extinguishes fire by smothering effect, the foam, a thick form an aqueous film over the material. Next is this wet chemical, suitable for class F fire. This is a typical look. It is having a horn with a metal tip. Used in restaurants, kitchen with deep oil fryers. Can be used in A and B class fire also. It contains potassium. And it forms a mist. Creates a fine mist. Creates a fine mist, cooling the flame and prevents splashing. Is the advantage of this one because the mist does not come with a pressure, so there is no chance of splashing. And again, water is there, so cooling is there, and it is typically a mist, so that water wala ki liquid will come up. That problem is not there. So this new wet chemical fire extinguisher will come into force for basically restaurants which are using deep oil fryers. And these were the modular type fire extinguishers I was telling. In your offices, you must have seen 5 kg and 10 kg, special type of fire extinguishers. this activate automatically. There is a nozzle. I'll show you in some slide. There is a nozzle. It is 58 to 60 degree temperature resistant. Whenever the temperature goes beyond 60 degree, this nozzle
not audible.
or electricity panel room, you can put one of this modular type. So that when no one is there and there is a fire, this can douse fire automatically. No need to operate. All portable fire extinguishers which I showed you earlier, that you operated manually when someone is present, but these are automatically. Again, this side one, this ball one, this I have seen in some places. There is a stand with a ball. It is having same MAP material, a rubber ball. It is placed in some susceptible area like electricity panel or your UPS room, where there are chances of a fire when you are not there. So when fire comes in contact with this, it bursts and it douses fire. So there are some special type of fire extinguisher nowadays used. This is the lock, what I was telling. There are two types of clip. Before operating, either you have to pull the clip like this fiber one, or there is a seal. This is the pin and this is a seal given to it. You have to cut the rubber sleeve, band, pull this pin, then only you can operate. This is just to avoid any accident. So whenever you want to operate, you have to see this. Either this fiber lock will be there or the metal clip will be there. To pull this metal clip, you have to cut this rubber band. You can pull it also, it breaks with hand, naked hand also. And if you have to pull this pin, then squeeze the grip, material will come out. And in this, you have to pull out that fiber lock clip. And this is the gauge of what I was telling. The stored pressure extinguisher, they have a typical gauge like this. This green part, if the pin is in green part, it is okay. When it is below, you have to refill it. See, this is the gauge. The aim of showing to this is fire extinguishers are always available in your office or in a workplace or a home or society. But whenever you are coming across something like this, you just have a look whether the gauge is near that green, whether it is this needs refilling or that is where this gauge. Next, how to operate in fire fighting. You said pass. Pass is a short form. How to operate the extinguisher. You have pulled the pin, everything. Now it is ready. How to pull the pin? Aim at the base of the fire. Squeeze the grip and sweep side to side. The direction is also given. And not only straight, sweep side to side. So it is called pass. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the grip handle, and sweep side by side. This is the basic principle of firefighting. It should not be at the top of the fire or at the material which is burning. Sweep side by side. Next, we'll discuss something which is of our importance. How to prevent fire in our workplace. There are so many points. I'll try to briefly cover those. First and foremost is good housekeeping. That means all the combustible materials in our house or offices like paper, oil, rag, wood, pen packing cases, those should be kept away from the source of fire. Source of fire in offices or home. Home it is kitchen or the puja room, and offices it is electrical panels. If you can keep all those things away from this place, then you are safe. In our houses, we have seen in a puja room, we converted a storeroom. In puja room, we are using a diya or a incense stick, agarbatti. But we have kept wooden packing material, waste papers, all those things are dumped inside. So that can be avoided if you keep a good housekeeping in your office and house. Do not block exits with furniture. In offices, those are a common thing. All the staircases which are not used, people put their old furniture, broken furniture, all those things are dumped in staircases. This is a common scene in any government offices. Where people are using the lift, so for the exits, staircases are used for storing all those broken. Repair all loose hanging wires, flickering tube lights, humming chokes. These are potential fire hazards. Loose hanging wires, even our flickering tube lights, humming chokes, anytime they can cause a fire by causing a spark. In electricity, what happens? This is next point is avoid multiple connection of one socket and extension cords. They are common things. But what happens, people don't know. Electrical wire, they are carrying energy. Whenever they get some resistance in the form of a joint or any loose this connection in your sockets, they get heated and they cause a fire. Then coming to our kitchen, cooking carelessness. Never leave cooking unattended. Whenever there is something cooking, the lady should be near the kitchen. Many a time they leave it, go to attend some mobile phone or TV, some important thing is coming, and that oil got fire. That cooking utensil caught fire. So never leave cooking unattended. In kitchen again, LPG gas safety comes. LPG safety as such is a separate topic. LPG is a very potential source of fire in our kitchens. We have heard many times there is a cylinder blast and the fire caught and the kitchen and the building came down. That cylinder is, if it blasts, no, it will bring down a house. It is so powerful. So whenever you are using a LPG, first thing, whenever the person delivers you the cylinder, check there is no leakage. That can be checked. That person will check. One valve is there, rubber valve. You can check it whether there is leakage. Normally, that valve it gets worn out or damaged, and there is a leakage. And normal rubber valve with 10 to 20 rupees, it replaces. Sometimes that pressure, that nozzle is not correct. Whenever you refill your cylinder with a new one, then there is a gas leakage. But advantage for LPG gas is colorless, odorless gas. But to know there is a leakage, there's something called ethyl mercaptan, which is added to that, so that it gives a pungent smell. So at least ladies, whenever they go to kitchen, they should have that knack, whether there is a leakage in LPG. The smell comes, pungent smell. So that was about leakage. Properly close the knob after using the kitchen. After cooking is finished, ensure that the knob is closed. Even overnight, you should see that knob is closed. Next one is about children. Matchbox, matchsticks. Matchsticks is the most dangerous thing for children, because they are curious how this fire catches. They want to strike a matchbox. So small children, keep the matchbox out of the reach of children. And again, candle. With so many places nowadays, people in mainly rural belt, town, people are not using nowadays candle or this lantern and all. Whenever there is a candle or lantern or diya you are using in your house, kindly see it is not close to any curtain or blind or something. Whenever there is air, slight air, it will catch fire. Even in your puja house, puja room, whenever the diya is burning, keep a watch on it till time it puts out. Even your that agarbatti, it can also cause a fire if it is not properly looked after. Next is the electricity connections. Today, earlier you must have seen in your main switch, no, we used to use fuse. Whenever there is short circuit, that fuse used to blow. So again, we used to tie a fuse wire. Nowadays, it has come with miniature circuit breaker. So all the circuit in your house can be divided into 4 or 5 parts, and MCBs can be placed. So whenever there is a spark somewhere or some overheating, that trip will come down. So you know in this belt there is some problem. You can call an electrician to check the connection. So kindly ensure that miniature circuit breakers are installed in your house. Adequate number. For a typical belt room, that all the connections should be in one MCB. Whole room, whole building should not be in one MCB. One room, one MCB connection. And again, you have to see through the electrician that if that MCB is put 5 ampere wala, that fuse is 5 ampere wala, not 10 ampere wala. Because they will put a 5 ampere MCB and where that in that again that fuse wire is there. So the fuse wire should be 5 ampere wala, not that 10 ampere wala they are tying on 5 ampere MCB. And smokers never smoke in bed. Discard board in ashtray with water, not under sofa or chair cushion. ये भी बहुत बड़ा matter है for fire. BD and cigarette. People smoke and then throw that butt. So if that habit is there, throwing that butt, when you are alone in the house smoking, that adat, throw that butt. It will go under your sofa or your bed and it can cause a fire. Then we'll see if there is fire. See, we have taken all precautions. Electricity we check कर रहे हैं बार-बार, cooking का भी सब ठीक-ठाक everything, but there is some fire due to some fault. So never panic. When there is a fire, never panic. आग लग गया क्या करेंगे? No. Leave as soon as possible. Never use a lift in case of fire. Suppose you are in a society, there is a fire in some floor. You came to know that fire हो गया, बाहर निकल जाओ. So don't panic. Lift through the staircase. Once take pain of using the staircase. Never use a lift. I'll narrate an incident here. Recently in March 2021 only, there was a fire in railway reservation counter, which is near Strand Road in Kolkata. 13th floor, fire caught. It was in their main server room. 13th floor. So what these people, this firefighter people, they reached, everything were in, people were informed, fire tender reached. The fire in charge who reached the place in the beginning, he thought how to climb 13th floor. He took a shortcut. He used the lift and he tried to will go to 10th floor, because 10th or 12th floor, 1 or 2 floor below that fire, so that we can reach that. They boarded the lift with 4 firemen. The lift went up, again came down, but never opened, and it again went to 13th floor jahan aag tha, and it opened there only. And that room was totally devastated with fire, lot of heat. That flame came inside the lift, and these 4 people are charged to death inside the lift. A recent incident, railway building, Kolkata. You can Google it and see. So never use a lift. Even fireman, that fireman, I know him personally. He was closer to our office. So many times during fire drill, he used to come. So ye chatki bolte hain. He thought ki why to climb 13th floor? We'll go to 10th or 12th floor, and from there we'll try to address that fire. So in that bargain, 4 firemen, they died inside the lift. They were charged to death because the lift didn't open in the ground floor nor in the 10th floor. It went to direct 13th floor jahan pe problem tha, and wahan khul gaya. Because whenever there is a fire, the lift will not obey you because heat is coming, the wires are melting. So there can be a snapping of the wire, and the lift may fall down very severely on the ground floor and you may die. That can also happen. Suffocation is there, fire and heat is there, but there is chances of snapping of the wire, and the lift may fall down with heavy speed and you may die inside. So never use a lift when there is a fire. Next, we say when there is fire, people die due to smoke. If you are caught in a smoke, crawl as low as possible. Smoke is dangerous. If you encounter smoke, use an alternate escape route. Try to avoid smoke. If you must go through the smoke, the cleanest air jo hai, it is between 1 to 2 feet only from the ground, above the floor. So crawl on your hands and knees to the nearest safe exit. Breathe as shallowly as possible through your nose, and try to use one cover like towel or rumal in your nose. So whenever there is a fire accident, people don't die by burning. It is due to the smoke, then a toxic gases which go into your lungs and you die. Do not open a window of the room in fire. This is because if you open the door and window of a fire, oxygen supply will increase and the fire will increase. It will never decrease. To remove the smoke, normally if smoke ho gaya, door window khul do. No, if fire is burning, if you open the door and window, the fire will increase. In case there is fire in some room and you have to cross through the fire, if forced to advance through flame, hold your breath, cover your head and hair, keep your eyes closed. Eyes and hair, these two are to be protected. Keep your head down and your eyes closed as much as possible, and move or run fast to the flame. You can save. Then this family escape plan. In your home, sometime chit chat with your family. अरे यहाँ आग लग गया क्या करेंगे? Suppose our main door में आग लग गया, बाहर नहीं पा रहे. Plan at least 2 escape routes from your home. Balcony में जा सकते हैं. Then we will call the guard and यहाँ से ऐसे सीढ़ी करके उतर जाएंगे. So at least when you are with your family having tea, you can plan. Suppose यार earthquake आ गया, हमारा ये सीढ़ी ऐसा हो गया, टूट गया, कैसे निकलेंगे? So if you have discussed and planned it, so when there is some incident, you can act quickly without thinking or panicking. And whenever you suppose you catch fire, आपके कपड़े में आग लग गया, so we बोलते हैं dash down, roll over, and douse the fire. Don't run. Whenever clothes are on fire, don't run. नीचे लेट जाओ. Try to douse it. And I'll come to this fire alarm system, fire hydrant. Briefly, next to this slide, I'll show the high-rise building what to do. We'll not go in detail. Because fire alarm system, fire hydrant system, these are all installed. But our duty is kindly see that those are under AMC. Annual maintenance contract is given, and those are functional. In your society, in your office, jahan bhi ho, try to see that these are not merely for display. Those are working. Fire alarm, fire hydrant system, even this fire extinguisher, they are refilled and under annual maintenance contract. That is important. Telephone number of fire brigade, police station should be handy. In your home also. Normally 100 and 101 you call. But it busy रहता है. The best is nearest fire police post का number रख लो. Fire brigade number लो. It should be available with your guard or in your office, in your home even. Nearest police station number you should have. I'll show you a small video for 2 minutes. Next slide. The sound is audible.
No, sound is not audible.
No, Girish, I think.
Subhajavani.
Just see that I think earlier, Girish, you did the sharing sound. No, it was okay when we played it earlier.
नहले गिरीश ये कौन करछि तू कोई परिबो हला तार एक्शन पे तू कोई दे प्लीज.
ये काम हो गया एलपीजी फायर के ऊपर.
हाँ,
कभी
अभी
भी
हो
ऐसा
गया,
होगा तो आपको
अभी आ रहा है.
करने के बाद नॉब को बंद करना है. तो नहीं है कि फायर एलपीजी सिलेंडर के अंदर इसी तरीके से लगे. कभी कभार होता क्या है, फायर पाइप के अंदर भी लग जाती है. तो उस केस में आपको क्या करना है, आइए देखते हैं. इस केस के अंदर आपको इस नॉब को, जो रेगुलेटर नॉब है, उसको आपको बंद कर देना है. मगर कभी कभी होता क्या है, एलपीजी सिलेंडर आपकी पहुंच से दूर होता है. तो उस केस में आपके पास एक दूसरा तरीका भी है. वो क्या है, आप उस केस में पाइप को मोड़ सकते हैं. पाइप को अगर आप जैसे आप मोड़ेंगे, एलपीजी सप्लाई बंद हो जाएगी और आग बुझ जाएगी. ये सबसे आसान तरीका है. इस केस के अंदर आप अपने आप को और अपने परिवार को, अपने घर को और अपने प्रीमाइसेस को बचा सकते हैं.
ये है कि फायर फाइटिंग करने के लिए आपको कपड़ा ही चाहिए हो. कभी कभार कपड़ा घर पे नहीं मिलता, टॉवल नहीं मिलता, या फिर किसी और तरह की चादर नहीं मिलती. सो इस केस में आपके पास एक और तरीका है. आप एक एम्प्टी बकेट लेकर आइए जिसके अंदर पानी ना हो. पानी के साथ कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. आपको एम्प्टी बकेट को सिलेंडर की नॉब के ऊपर तेज हिट करना है, ऐसे. इतना करते ही आग बुझ जाएगी. करना क्या है, और नॉब को बंद कर देंगे। बंद करने के साथ ही आग बुझ जाएगी।
कभी कभार आपने देखा होगा घर में खाना बनाते टाइम, छोंक लगाते टाइम, तड़का लगाते टाइम कढ़ाई के अंदर आग लग जाती है। कभी आपके साथ ऐसी सिचुएशन हो जाए तो आपको करना क्या है उस टाइम पे? मान लीजिए कि इसके अंदर आग लग गई है खाना बनाते टाइम, आपको एक गीला कपड़ा करके निचोड़ना है। निचोड़ने के बाद आपको हमेशा जब भी आपको आग से और कपड़े के बीच में कांटेक्ट करना है तो आपको अपना हाथ पीछे रखना है। पीछे रखने के साथ साथ होगा कि आपके हाथ पे आग का कोई इंपैक्ट नहीं होगा। तो इस केस में आपको करना क्या है, पास जाकर इसको ढक देना है। ढकने से होगा क्या, हवा की सप्लाई कट हो जाएगी और आग बुझ जाएगी। तुरंत बाद आपको कपड़ा नहीं हटाना है जब तक उसमें से धुआं निकलने ना लग जाए। अगर आप तुरंत हटाएंगे तो आग दोबारा से लग जाएगी और आसपास की चीजों को अपनी चपेट में ले सकती है। सो अब आप देख सकते हैं कि आग बुझ चुकी है।
आप सभी जानते हैं कि ब्रांचेस में हमारे पास अलग अलग तरह के एक्सटिंग्विशर लगे हैं। कुछ हमारे एक्सटिंग्विशर यहाँ पर भी हैं, एबीसी पाउडर टाइप है फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर। दूसरा है हमारे पास वाटर CO2, तीसरा है हमारे पास CO2 गैस टाइप फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर। अब आपको दो चीज़ें हमेशा याद रखनी है, कभी भी तेल में लगी हुई आग के ऊपर पानी नहीं डालना है और बिजली से लगी हुई आग के ऊपर भी पानी नहीं डालना है। कुछ भी करने से पहले हमें ये पता होना चाहिए हमें क्या नहीं करना है। तो ये दो काम आपको किसी भी कीमत पे नहीं करनी है। सबसे पहला एक्सटिंग्विशर है हमारा एबीसी टाइप फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर। इस एक्सटिंग्विशर को चलाने के लिए हमारे पास प्रोसीजर है पास का। पास मतलब PASS। इसके अंदर क्या करना है हमें, एक आगे सील लगी हुई है, इसको हम थोड़ा सा घुमाएंगे तो ये टूट जाएगी। टूटने के बाद हमें पुल द पिन, एम एट द बेस ऑफ द फायर। हमें एम करना है जिस चीज में आग लगी है उसकी तरफ, ना कि लपटों की तरफ। उसके बाद हमें इस लीवर को स्क्वीज करना है, दबाना है और स्वीप, आपको झाड़ू लगानी है इससे। मतलब क्या है, अगर आप इसको एक पॉइंट पे रखेंगे तो फायर फाइटिंग नहीं हो पाएगी। आपको इसको घुमाना है ताकि पाउडर जो इसका डिस्चार्ज है वो सारा का सारा हर जगह पे जाए।
आपने देखा अब आग बुझ चुकी है। चलिए CO2 फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर के एक्चुअल ऑपरेशन के बारे में बात करते हैं। इसको चलाने का तरीका यही है, आपको एक पिन बाहर निकालनी है, इस व्हील को आपको एंटी क्लॉकवाइज में रोटेट करना है और जिस चीज में आग लगी उसकी तरफ इसको पॉइंट करना है। और पॉइंट करने के बाद जैसे आप इसको रोटेट कर दें, आप आग की तरफ बढ़कर इसको डाउज कर सकते हैं।
एक्सटिंग्विशर है हमारा वाटर CO2। इस एक्सटिंग्विशर के अंदर सिर्फ पानी है, साथ में एक गैस कार्ट्रिज है जो प्रेशर बनाने के लिए इस्तेमाल की जाती है। इसको चलाने का ऑपरेशन, आपको सबसे पहले क्लिप को बाहर निकालना है। कभी भी इस एक्सटिंग्विशर को आपको अपने मुंह के कांटेक्ट में नहीं लाना है, आपको हमेशा इसको थोड़ा आगे धकेलना है और उसके बाद जिस चीज़ में आग लगी उसकी तरफ पॉइंट करके इसको अपनी हथेली से पंच करना है। तो इसको चला के देखते हैं एक बार। तो आप देख सकते होगा पानी इसमें से बाहर निकलने लग रहा है जो कि आपके इक्विपमेंट को खराब कर सकता है। तो उसके लिए आप क्या कर सकते हैं,
में फायर की।
ओके, तो ये छोटा सा वीडियो था। पहले वाले में उसने दिखाया था कि LPG सिलेंडर में आग लग गया तो बाहर क्या करोगे। नॉर्मली एक गीला कपड़ा लो, मे बी बेडशीट, इसको जरा लपेट दो। पहला वाला वही बताया था। एंड द फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर जो 3 उसने दिखाया, 2 वेर दैट स्टोर्ड प्रेशर वाला, दैट कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड ABC जो दिखाया, एंड थर्ड वाला दैट वाटर वाला दिखाया था, इट वाज ए कार्ट्रिज ऑपरेटेड। So cartridge operated में that one disadvantage, once you actuate that cartridge, whole material will be expanded. देखा, उसका पानी का चल ही रहा था, there is no method to stop it. वो एक disadvantage था in cartridge operated. Stored pressure में just pressure the squeeze grip और CO2 में से knob को घुमाते एंटी क्लॉकवाइज, घुमाओ वो गैस निकलेगा। ठीक है, so that was there. ये हमारे लिए इतना important नहीं है, just rush through fire safety in high rise building. बिकॉज ये हम लोगों को पता होना चाहिए। हमारा है नेशनल बिल्डिंग कोड 2005 के हिसाब से, व्हेनेवर ए बिल्डिंग इज 15 मीटर्स एंड अबव, दैट इज अ हाई राइज बिल्डिंग। 15 मीटर्स इज, मान लो 5 फ्लोर, 5 मंजिले से ज्यादा हो गया, इट इज अ हाई राइज बिल्डिंग। उसमें क्या होना चाहिए? यू शुड हैव फायर हाइड्रेंट सिस्टम, फायर डिटेक्शन एंड अलार्म सिस्टम, public addressable system, sprinkler system, all are mandatory. It should have diesel generator, jockey pump, main pump to lift the water. Water storage plenty होनी चाहिए. एज पर फ्लोर साइज इसका डिसाइड होता है कितना वाटर रहना चाहिए. होता है 1 लाख का टंकी होगा, 2 लाख का टंकी होगा, अंडरग्राउंड या ओवरहेड होगा. देयर इज 2 टाइप ऑफ फायर हाइड्रेंट. वन इज वेट राइजर, जो नीचे आपका टंकी है पानी, एंड यू पंप द वाटर टू द टॉप फ्लोर. एंड उल्टा होता है डाउन कमर, ऊपर आपका टंकी है एंड थ्रू ग्रेविटी वाटर इज कमिंग. बट इसमें क्या होता है, फायर हाइड्रेंट, इन फायर हाइड्रेंट पूरे पाइप में, और इवन आपका अगर स्प्रिंकलर सिस्टम लगा, पूरे पाइप में फुल प्रेशर में पानी रहता है भरा हुआ. whenever there is a fire accident, just नोजल कपलिंग लगाते हैं सामने होज रील के साथ, जो खोलो एंड प्रेशर में पानी चल पड़ेगा. एंड सबका अलग अलग है गाइडलाइन, लाइक एटलीस्ट कितना पानी देना चाहिए 1 मिनट में, टोटल कितना कैपेसिटी होनी चाहिए. इट इज डिसाइडेड एज पर बिल्डिंग. जो करने आएगा उसको पता है कि इतना फ्लोर का बिल्डिंग है, इतना ऑक्यूपेंट है, तो कितना लगेगा. ठीक है. एंड ऑल द बिल्डिंग शुड हैव ए रिफ्यूज एरिया. रिफ्यूज एरिया इन ईच फ्लोर. अगर आग लग गया तो बाहर कहाँ आएंगे? जैसे हमारा बेल्कनी टाइप का या टेरेस टाइप का होता है, हर फ्लोर में होनी चाहिए रिफ्यूज एरिया. फायर चेक डोर, ये सब मैंडेटरी है कुछ एज पर एनबीसी, ये होने चाहिए जो हाई राइज बिल्डिंग्स में. जहां नहीं है, फायर डिपार्टमेंट एंड पुलिस दे कैन sue you. These are some items आप देखेंगे कहीं ना कहीं होगा. फायर अलार्म सिस्टम लगा होगा, ऐसे ऐसे चीजें आप देखेंगे. स्मोक डिटेक्टर है, कहीं एक स्ट्रोब लाइट है, मैनुअल कॉल पॉइंट है, ये सब चीजें दिखा रहता है. ये फायर अलार्म सिस्टम का पार्ट होता है. ठीक है. फायर अलार्म में 2 टाइप के होते हैं. बड़े बिल्डिंगों में एड्रेसेबल वाला होते हैं, इन स्मॉल बिल्डिंग्स नॉर्मल वाला. दे बेसिकली जनरेट अलार्म कि आग लग गया है भाई, अरे फलाने जगह पे लग गया है. इसमें जोन का डिस्प्ले आता है. इस जोन में, यानी फर्स्ट फ्लोर मानो जोन 1 है, जोन 2 है, जोन 1 में फलाने जगह पे आग लग गया है, इतना ये खाली आपको बता देगा, एक्शन आपको करने हैं. ये बेसिकली फायर डिटेक्शन सिस्टम है. ऐसे ऐसे चीजें होते हैं. एक समथिंग कॉल्ड स्मोक डिटेक्टर, एक हीट डिटेक्टर. चलो ये आप लोगों के लिए नहीं है, बट देखोगे तो ये डिटेक्ट करने के लिए ही है. बट ये चल रहे हैं, क्लीन है, वो देखेगा आपका वेंडर. ये वो प्लंजर की बात कर रहा था, नोजल के बारे में, जो ऑटोमेटिक फायर जो मॉड्यूलर वाले में लगा रहता है. ये बीच में वैक्यूम सील्ड लिक्विड होता है, ग्लास ट्यूब, जो कि 60 डिग्री के टेम्परेचर से अपने आप फट जाता है एंड इसके मटेरियल बाहर आ जाते हैं. ये स्प्रिंकलर लगा हुआ डिफ्लेक्टर, जिससे वो स्प्रिंकल होते हैं. ये वो नोजल लगा रहता है इसमें ऑटोमेटिक. तुम्हारा फायर हाइड्रेंट सिस्टम में जहां स्प्रिंकलर सिस्टम है उसमें यही लगा रहता है. ठीक है. दिस इज स्ट्रोब लाइट बेसिकली फॉर ब्लाइंड, और ये क्या नाम है, हियरिंग इम्पर्ड वाले के लिए. आवाज सुनाई देने का लाइट दिखेगा, ये लाइट ब्लिंक करता है. दिस इज मैनुअल कॉल पॉइंट. जगह जगह आपने दिखा हथौड़ी लगा रहता है, उसके ऊपर एक कांच का है. तो ये कुछ नहीं है, इसको खाली कांच को तोड़ना है, वन बटन रहता है, उसको दबा देना है तो अलार्म बज जाए. सो वो आप कहीं जगह पे है, स्टेयरकेस में देखा आप आग लग गया, यू वांट टू अलर्ट करना है अलार्म में, तो इसको तोड़ के खाली बजाना है. यही इसका काम है. ये बेसिकली मैं दिखाने का एम ये था कि हाई राइज बिल्डिंग में ये सब लगे रहते हैं. ये तुम्हारे फायर फाइटिंग का कुछ पार्ट है, कुछ काम के हैं. ये सब चीजें रहते हैं. होस रील, ये स्प्रिंकलर का, ये सब चीजें रहते हैं, उसी का पार्ट है. ये होस बॉक्स रहता है जिसमें होस रील रहते हैं रोल होके. इसमें ऐसे ब्रास के कपलिंग सब लगते हैं, नोजल, जिसमें वो फायर फाइटर्स आके उसको यूज कर सकते हैं. ये छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स है, मैं कल दिखाना चाह रहा था. ये सब पार्ट्स आपके फायर फाइटिंग इक्विपमेंट के होते हैं. सो आई हैव कम टू ऑलमोस्ट एंड. अभी इसमें हम टेक अवे क्या है, मैं जो तुम लोगों को बताना चाह रहा था कि वी शुड लर्न कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे एंड फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर हैंडल करेंगे. मैंने बताया आपको वाटर CO2 वाला कैसे होता है, ABC वाला होता है, एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. 3 टाइप के फायर सिलेंडर है. जब भी आपको कहीं नजर आता है देख लो, बिकॉज हम लोग भीम है बोलते हैं ना, हमको याद दिलाना पड़ता है. एवरीवन नोज कि ये फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर यूज करना है, बट इनको तब यूज करना है जब कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा. तो उससे पहले एटलीस्ट सीख लो. जस्ट सी के फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर, तो बोला था क्लास में, कुछ देखते हैं क्या लिखा है इसमें. ABC है, BC है, A लिखा है, इसमें क्या है, वेदर इट स्टोर्ड प्रेशर वाला है कि कार्ट्रिज वाला है, इतना आप देख सकते हो. सो नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेनेवर यू गो टू योर ऑफिस और कहीं, ये देखो, एटलीस्ट 1 सेकंड खड़ा हो, देखो क्या चीज है ये. गुड हाउसकीपिंग आज से कर देना है कि भाई मेरे घर में आग नहीं लगना चाहिए. जैसे मैंने बताया, जहां भी तुम्हारा मेन है किचन एंड पूजा का घर, ये दोनों को सेफली रख लो, बाकी जगह प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा घर में एटलीस्ट ड्यू टू फायर, अनलेस देयर ये बिग शॉर्ट सर्किट और समथिंग. मॉक ड्रिल, ये हरदम मैं स्ट्रेस दूंगा, मॉक ड्रिल ऑफिस में, हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज में होने चाहिए कि कल आग लग गया क्या होगा। एटलीस्ट साल में एक बार जो भी आपका सिक्योरिटी अफसर है, एडम अफसर है, यू इंसिस्ट कि भाई एक बार मॉक ड्रिल कराओ कि कल आग लग गया तो बाहर निकलेंगे कहाँ, वेयर आवर असेंबली एरिया, कहाँ असेंबल होंगे, कौन हमारा फ्लोर का इंचार्ज, फ्लोर मार्शल बोलते हैं, ये फ्लोर का इंचार्ज, सब लोग बाहर आए कि नहीं, विल से यहाँ सब आ गए, असेंबली एरिया जहाँ असेंबल होंगे वहाँ काउंटिंग हुआ, सब लोग आ गए, कोई अंदर तो नहीं रह गया, कितना टाइम लग रहा है पूरा बिल्डिंग खाली करने में अगर कुछ हो गया। ये सब एक बार मॉक ड्रिल होने चाहिए हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज में भी एंड ऑफिस में, एटलीस्ट वंस ए ईयर। सारे इलेक्ट्रिकल कनेक्शन जो घर में है या ऑफिस में, महीने में नहीं, क्वार्टर में नहीं, तो साल में एटलीस्ट इंस्पेक्ट करवा लोगे, यहाँ कोई खतरा तो नहीं है, सारे बोर्ड वार्ड थोड़ा चेक करवा दो, मेन स्विच को चेक करवाओ, तार तो खराब नहीं हो रहा है, ये खुद करवा सकते हैं, खुद की सेफ्टी के लिए एक बार करवा लो, साल में एटलीस्ट एक बार। और ये मैं हरदम बोलता हूँ मेरे वाइफ को भी, भाई कुछ नहीं है तो किचन में एटलीस्ट एक बकेट पानी हरदम रखो फॉर फायर, उसको यूज मत करो। वो रखती है, नहीं रखता मतलब क्यों नहीं रखा है पानी, एक बाल्टी पानी रखो घर में, किचन में रखा रहो भरा हुआ, वो फायर के लिए, कभी कुछ हो गया, नहीं हुआ फेंक देना, फिर अगले दिन रखो, एक बोतल बाल्टी हरदम होनी चाहिए घर। एंड ये जो मैं बताया था विद फैमिली मेंबर्स पीरियडिकली डिस्कस करो कि कुछ हो गया इन केस, नॉट ओनली फायर और कुछ भी हो सकता है, एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ एक्सीजेंसी, हम घर से कैसे बाहर सेफली निकलेंगे, एक दो प्लान होने चाहिए, यहाँ ये हो गया तो यहाँ से निकल जाए, ये हो गया तो यहाँ से निकल जाए। एंड ये अपना कान में भर लो, नेवर यूज एलिवेटर ड्यूरिंग फायर। और मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि ये नहीं कि कभी नहीं होगा, लाइफ टाइम में कभी देख सकते हैं हम फायर, मैंने एक दो बार देखा है फायर। एक इंसिडेंट छोटा सा बताऊंगा, मैं शिमला में पोस्टेड था, देयर वाज ए किचन, जो किचन होता है, किचन बोल रहा हूँ, कैंटीन था किसी प्राइवेट का, उसके ऊपर हमारा ब्रांच होता था और नीचे HPMIDC का बड़ा सा ऑफिस था, उसमें उनका कैंटीन था, किचन था। तो अर्ली मॉर्निंग अराउंड 7:30 में ऐसे ही बाजार में कुछ लेने के लिए गया था दुकान में, बोला सर आग लग गया, गए, आई सॉ देयर आर 5 गैस सिलेंडर फिल्ड। उसने क्या किया था, वो पूरी तलने के लिए कढ़ाई बिठाया था, वो कढ़ाई टपल हो गया, दैट ऑयल स्प्लाश तो हुआ, स्प्रेड हुआ, बट इट एनगॉल्ड ऑल दोस 5 LPG सिलेंडर। तो वो डर रहा था कि सर ये सिलेंडर अगर जल गया, फट गया, मर जाएंगे। मैं बोला तू ऐसा काम कर, अगर ये 4 सिलेंडर को बाहर खींच दिया ना कैसे भी करके, देन तो बच जाएगा, नहीं तो फट सकता है। सिलेंडर फटता क्यों है, व्हेन द प्रेशर बिल्टअप ज्यादा हो जाए तब फटता है। तो उसने क्या किया, एक कोई डंडा लाया हुक टाइप का, एंड उसने एक एक करके 4 खींच के बाहर निकाल दिया, देन वी कुड सेव। उसके बाद फायर फाइटिंग आप कर सकते हो जो भी करना, फायर टेंडर आ गए, ये वो बात की बात है, बट जब तक फायर टेंडर आते वो 4 सिलेंडर से एक फट जाता, वो बिल्डिंग जाता, मेरा ब्रांच भी जाता। दूसरा है जो रिफिलिंग के टाइम में ना, व्हेन एवर देयर इज ए रिफिलिंग, ऑफिस में हो तो सोसाइटी में, ट्राई कि उसी टाइम में उसको डेमो ले लो। खुद जब तक यूज नहीं करोगे चला के, कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आएगा। और कुछ नहीं है इसमें, हमारे ऑफिस में सब लड़कियां चलाते हैं, हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जब भी कोई रिफिलिंग का टाइम होता है साल में, जो 2-3 लोग अवेलेबल है, मैं भी, पियोन है, गार्ड है, कोई क्लर्क है, जो अवेलेबल है वो आएगा, दे विल खुद हैंडल करेंगे, खुद चलाएंगे, आग लगा के, जैसे वो लड़का कर रहा था, करो, देन दे सर्टिफाई कि हम 2-3 लोग सीखे इसको। और साइन करने के बाद जो बिल हमारे पास आएगा, वो साइन होगा तब बिल पेमेंट होगा उसका रिफिलिंग की। नहीं तो ये लोग क्या करते हैं, एजेंसी आएंगे और लेवल को चेंज, ऊपर लेवल लगाता है, रिफिल ड्यू, रिफिल चेंज करके चले जाएंगे, ब्रांच हेड को पता भी नहीं चलेगा। सो बेस्ट इज, जब भी रिफिलिंग है ट्राई टू हैंडल करो इसको, एक दो कोशिश करो, जैसे हमारे यहाँ होता है, हमारे बेटे को भी ले आया तो कर, चला, सब खुद चलाएगा तब जगह भरोसा आएगा, हाँ ये लाल बाटली चलता है। सो थैंक यू। एनी क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू फायर, किसी का कोई छोटा मोटा क्वेरी, ऑल्दो आई एम नॉट एक्सपर्ट इन ये, मैं आई विल ट्राई कि कुछ हेल्प अगर किसी को चाहिए तो।
तो आग लगा दिया भाई,
आग लगा दिया।
थैंक यू, वेरी नाइस।
So, yeah, team, we are open for questions now. Thank you, Girish.
Girish, presentation was very nice. I really liked the video. Here, यहाँ पे, you know, in our workplace, every 6 months, everybody has to go for fire training. So I regularly get this information. But आपका जो वीडियो में इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इंफॉर्मेशन मिला, मुझे वो अच्छा लगा। And another important thing I learned is during the smoke time we have to crawl. Even though I've been doing for 17 years fire safety training, I did not know that. So that is very good. And I see patients from carbon monoxide poisoning, but I still didn't know that you have to crawl. So that is my one of the biggest takeaway. Thank you very much.
गिरीश, थैंक्स अ लॉट. और तो एक्चुअली तुमने फायर भी लगाया और बुझाया भी. So it is an important